Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, where we get together every morning live, 10:30 in the morning here on Facebook, to look at the latest headlines, stories, tips, suggestions, ideas, and inspiration we can accumulate to make our lives more meaningful in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking community. There are things on my eyes, not anymore. Hello. It's always great to see new faces and the faces that we see just about every morning here. If you happen to be new, my name is Paco, and we'd love to know that you're new. If you type the word new in your comments, we will be able to give you a proper welcome. And of course, if anybody has any specific questions or comments that they wish to address during the broadcast or shortly thereafter, because the conversation moves fairly quickly, we would very much appreciate if you add the letter Q to your question so that we can get to it hopefully during the show. And if not, I'll take a look at it shortly thereafter. It's great to see everyone. I see that we have another poet in the house. Terry welcomes us with this little snippet. Yesterday, we had such a nice description of a short but sweet description of a place that I thought was absolutely wonderful. Good morning, Terry, and good morning to everyone that joins us. Christine is in San Miguel de Allende. And every time I see you, Christine, you make me remember so many wonderful times I've had over there. I just love San Miguel de Allende. It's a beautiful place. Yakima is in the house. Here we go. Yakima is in the house. Finally found you, says Judy. We haven't been anywhere. We've been here waiting for you. Good morning from Chattanooga, from Ken. This is awesome. All kinds of great good mornings. I always love to see that where you're tuning in from, and it's so nice to see those of you that are far away because one way or another you want to stay in touch with what's going on here, and that is super, super special. Oh, Michael, that is so sweet. That is so sweet. I have a very special thing going on, Michael, as long as you're here. As you know, I'm going away for 3 days. So Wednesday's Coffee and Headlines is going to be all about music. So, Michael, you may want to take a look at it. It'll be pre-recorded, but it'll give you a sense as to what kind of music just makes me spin and stuff. And YouTube makes me spin in so many directions because there's so much wonderful performance stuff available for us to enjoy and to get ourselves all drenched in music and culture and this and that and the other. But I'm rambling, which means that it's time to head into the news. Today, of course, it's Monday. We get to take a look at the latest COVID numbers from our governor. We also get to take a look at school. School is starting in Mexico. We see what that means. And what else do we have going on? We have a special public service announcement for folks living in Springfield, Massachusetts. If there's anybody here from Springfield, we have special, very important news for you. But first, let's get to the important... Oh, buenos dias, Señor Paco, says Lori Craig. Buenos dias, Señorita Lori. It is great to see you. Vancouver, USA. Is there such a thing as Vancouver, USA? I didn't know that. This is awesome. But again, consider all of you hugged and good morninged Let us move into the news because we have a few things to look at. Hang on. Oh! Okay, somebody messed up with my setup. Hold on just a second. Oh, how weird. I cannot get to my headlines. This is so bizarre. Hold on. How do I get to my headlines? I think I messed up my headlines. I may have to show them to you. Hold on. How very bizarre. And this just happened. No, goodbye already. What are you talking about, Renee? We're just getting started. I don't see how this happened. Let me just very quickly set up another scene. And there I want to show you an application. Hold on. I know I'm still here and I know you're still there, and I'm trying to figure out why I cannot show you my other screen. Oh, this is so bizarre. Weird. Source, blank, camera, share screen. Share screen, there you go. Hold on. Can I do this now and share Safari? See, I'm all over this. Now let me just put myself in the picture, make myself round, and let me make myself small, and see, we're there. Piece of cake. Anyhow, we have entered the twilight zone, Donna, and we have very gracefully exited it. See, we can do this. Back to the news. Boom. As you know, it's Monday, and today is the day in which we get news from our governor. And here's what he had to say this week, which sounds mysteriously similar to what he said last week. The indicators this week reflect that in Jalisco, we have understood the awareness message and the responsibility, the individual responsibility to decrease the cases of COVID-19 through the sanitary measures that we already know, particularly the use of the face mask. In comparison with last week, we were able to drop from 29% to 28.5% the hospital occupation. This means that out of 574 available beds, which we had last week, now we have 590. Plus, we lowered the weekly number of cases from 354 to 306. In the national graphs, we continue to be the third state in the country with the lowest number of accumulated cases, and we are very much under the national numbers of active cases, and we are the seventh state with the lowest morbidity rate. This is the path that we should continue following to save more lives, but we would also, but also to continue reactivating our economy. Hopefully, we will all do our share so that we can maintain this dynamic to continue lowering the number of cases. So that is what our governor has to say. And let me see if I can put myself back in the screen. My goodness, my software is bound to not let me do anything the way I want to do it today. So I am going to, good heavens. I'm still here. Okay, so today is going to be one of those days. Fine. Hold on just a second. Why can I not do what I want to do? Okay, here we are. Let me continue with the numbers. This is what the graph looks like this week. It is going to be compared to last week's graph, which is easier. As you can see, this is a very strange graph, by the way, because look at the numbers. Last week we had 772 beds being occupied, and we were at 29%. And this week we have a higher number of beds, 779, but we have a lower percentage of occupation. So either this was a mistake that somebody did, or this was a matter in which the number of beds changed. I don't know exactly what's going on with that graph. But in the case of the number of cases, last week we were at 354. This week we are at a much lower number, 306 cases. So there is definitely a trend here in which the number of cases is decreasing. Here are the national numbers. This is the number of active cases, and here is Jalisco. Baja California Sur continues to be the place with the highest number of active cases. As the governor mentioned, when it comes to accumulated cases for every 100,000 inhabitants, Jalisco is down here with 215.4. The highest is now Tabasco. And when it comes to morbidity, we are here with 25.99 deaths for every 100,000 inhabitants, the highest number being Mexico City. So these numbers look good, but they're just numbers. Again, our responsibility to ourselves and to our loved ones and the people around us has not changed. We need to continue being mindful of everything that we need to be doing so that the numbers continue in this general direction. Locally, I don't usually look at local numbers, but it was nice to see that the decrease in cases is also being reflected in Puerto Vallarta. Apparently, in the last 24 hours, there were only 6 new cases and there were no deaths. So this is a good thing to see. Hugo Lopez-Gatell tells us that this was an interesting article because this comes from Hugo Lopez-Gatell's press conference from last night, and he made a number of statements that are worth repeating. Number one, he said, "We have done everything that is in our power and more as we are continuing to overcome what could have been a catastrophic situation for the country." When he was questioned about what were the causes that made Mexico reach such a high number of cases, he immediately mentioned causes such as pre-existing situations, conditions like obesity, chronic diseases, but he also talked about corruption and the unevenness that our society has, how there are a lot of people that benefit a lot from being corporations that have access to all kinds of resources, and then there are some people in Mexico whose resources are just not that high. So it is interesting and wonderful to see that Hugo Lopez-Gatell brings these facts to awareness, and we're going to take a look at this again in just a second. Now, here's a funny bit of news. Let me see if I can find myself again. I need to find my big image. I have misplaced my big image. Source, camera. But look at that. That is just ugly. See, this is what happens when I don't push the right buttons. Watch me transform myself into a thing of beauty. Let me get my bricks back. There you go. That feels a lot better. Let me fix my colors because they look a little bit... Oh, no, wait a second. We want to make sure that we are using this other camera. And we want to use, there you go, and we want to mask the edges, and we want to make this transparent. And I'm starting to look a little better, not exactly how I'd like to look, but my buttons, they just went funny. Hold on just a second. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay, so now I can have a conversation with you, and you get a sense as to how the magic happens back here. Anyhow, oh, ouch, ouch. Marco Antonio Barajas Moreno says, "Nothing that Gatell says is worth repeating." Why? I really would like to know why, Marco. And here's why I ask you, and I'm going to invite you to consider this. When you say nothing that Gattel says is worth repeating, but you are not able to back it up, then nothing you say is worth repeating. So when you say things like what you say, just consider and ask yourself, how much am I contributing to the conversation when I make a blanket statement like that? You don't need to answer me, but just think about how popular you want to be at gatherings with your friends. Enough said. Back to what I was talking about in the news, something really funny happened because not yesterday, 3 or 4 days ago, there were some notions that were being put out by the local hotels saying, okay, you're pushing my buttons. You are pushing my buttons. Let me tell you something, Marco. This is not a place for public debate. This is a place where I share news and you share news and we all take them home and have fun with them. Don't make statements that you cannot back up. Keep your statements positive, nurturing, constructive, and that is my second intervention. Thank you very much. If you are not able to keep your comments positive, nurturing, and supportive of this community, there are a lot of other communities you can visit and spend your time at. As I was saying, the local hotels were trying to reach out to our governor, saying something to the effect of, well, we would like to see the number of guests that we can receive to a higher number. We want to go up to 50%. And it turns out that hotels have had this ability all along. I found this article from Contralinea that says that apparently nobody told the local hotel motel association about the fact that they can have a 50% occupation during the weekend. So on the one hand, this article tells us that some hotels may actually benefit from this because there are some hotels that have this kind of demand, whereas at the same time, we have a lot of hotels that unfortunately don't have such a high number of possible guests. So the article says something along the lines of the fact that increasing the number of tourists that can stay at our hotels is only going to benefit a few people. Let us hope that as the numbers keep getting better, the hotels are going to be able to receive more and more guests, and our economic reactivation is going to continue. Elsewhere, this is somewhat unfortunate because apparently scientists in Hong Kong have documented the very first case in which somebody who already had coronavirus and recovered from it got infected by a slightly different a slightly different strain of the virus. And this puts into awareness the situation in which vaccines may be effective or they may not. If the virus is mutating, we may be able to benefit from the vaccines. I think it's a little bit early to tell, and we'll just have to see what happens as the new viruses, as the new vaccines develop. Let me pause here to take a quick look at your comments and see where we are. I don't see any questions. I see a lot of comments, but I don't see any cues. Oh, come on, William. We have moved our bricks in and out a number of times. Yesterday we had Sunday Fun Day, and I had palm trees behind me. That is so funny. Question: have you heard that people need to COVID test before flying to the USA? I actually haven't heard this, but if I see a headline to that effect, you will be the first to know. I don't mean to whip out my claws. I just mean to keep this place nurturing and constructive for everybody. Cool it. It was just a statement. That is the problem, Marco. It was just a statement. It was not helpful to the conversation. And that is my opinion again. Um, Terry and I just da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Am I familiar with the Facebook page PV Everything You Need or Want to Know Info Zone? Info Zone? Is that a different page than I don't know if that is the same page that we all visit. Is this a separate page, Donna? I don't know that I have heard about this as a separate page. Because is that the Trisha page? Trisha Lyman has a page that has exactly that name. So I am not entirely sure that I am familiar with it. With that said, let me try to push the. How did I learn to be so techie? Let me answer that question, Lindy. The pandemic came, and I found myself needing to reinvent myself and wanting to reinvent myself. And I found myself in a world where, thank God, I have internet. And that means that I have access to all kinds of knowledge and all kinds of new things to try and discover and so forth and so on. And what I did is simply pick up some new skills. And I think this is a great time. It is always a great time to pick up new skills. And I certainly hope that other people do that. Question, is there a place in Puerto Vallarta that has Tai Chi classes or groups of people doing Tai Chi? Community, help me out. I haven't heard anything specific about Tai Chi, but if somebody has, please let's help Den find what he's looking for. Anyhow, I see from your comments, I think that the page that you guys are mentioning is a different page. I'm going to go visit it. Yes, it is a knockoff, not Trisha's page. Again, I am not familiar with it, but I'm certainly going to go take a look at it later on today just to see what kind of information I find there. But now let us try to move into the leisurely stuff and the weather. Here we go. I'm going to push a button and hopefully things will happen the way they're supposed to happen. See, that went well. Who knew? It is 26 degrees Celsius, 1 degree cooler than yesterday. It feels like 30 degrees. It is 79 Fahrenheit, and we have 100% humidity. So it's going to be balmy today. Precipitation, there's a 20% chance that we're going to get rain today, which I am absolutely happy about. And if we look at the weather forecast, rain in the morning for today and overnight. Then Tuesday, tomorrow, we're going to have rain and humidity throughout the day. And Wednesday, we're going to have rain and humidity throughout the day. I love what the weatherman says to us today. It says, it's summertime. Drop what you're doing, oil up, and go bake your skin in the sun until it's a nice leathery orange. That might be a little bit too much for me, but but I was at the beach yesterday, actually. I went to the beach to say hello to some very nice friends that are visiting. And it was nice to see that there was activity at the beach. And it was nice to see that people are safe distancing, although I don't see as many face masks as I used to. I suppose this is going to be a trend. People are going to continue to get relaxed. And I'm not entirely sure that this is just part of the natural progression of things. I, for myself, continue to be very mindful of where I wear my face mask, and I pretty much wear it wherever I go. And hold on just a second. Thank you. You don't want to hear me cough, that's for sure. Let me take a quick look. I see another question here. Is the weather where you are vacationing similar to PV? Oh, no. I'm going to the mountains, Dave. I'm going to the Sierra Madre Mountains, only an hour and a half away from here, where it's cold. You need to bring a jacket. You need to bring an umbrella. It is warm during the daytime, but it is cold during the evenings. And during the winter months, it gets really, really cold. Anyhow, coming back to a few headlines that I want to share with you. Let's see. Today is a day in which elementary school classes begin in Mexico, and the president of Mexico has been very proud to mention that this is our big accomplishment. The pandemic is still going on, but we're able to continue to educate our children. And there's a full schedule of classes from first grade to sixth grade, and this is available on regular television network, and it's available on internet, I am sure. But I wanted to offer you a bit of perspective, if I may. I whipped out my Google map, and here's Puerto Vallarta. And see this red dot over here? Let us zoom into that red dot. It's called Huejutla, and it's a mountain town in the middle of nowhere. As you can see, there is absolutely no anything around this little town, and it's far away in the middle of nowhere. And I'm showing this to you because this little town has an indigenous community of 300 people where only 5 families have a television set, and they have no internet. So these children, who don't even speak Spanish, they speak Nahuatl, which is the ancient language used by the Aztecs. They don't have access to education. This is not their fault. This is, I don't know whose fault it is, but I just wanted to mention this just to get a sense as to the contrasts that we live in Mexico. According to this article, again, there's around 300 people. Only 5 families have a TV set. Only 12 have a radio, and only 3 families have a cell phone. And it is in this condition that the 37 children in the town are starting to study today. So again, those of us that have access to technology, we are fortunate, but it is important to always remember or not take for granted those people that don't have such access. Now, I don't know if anybody here is from Springfield, Massachusetts, but this is my public service announcement for today. There is a hugger on the loose. Apparently, there is a man going around your Walmart hugging people and telling them that they have COVID-19. So if you live in Springfield, Massachusetts, be careful, because somebody might just hug you and tell you that you now have COVID-19. I tell you, they come in all sizes and shapes, don't they? My last headline for you today has to do with the Cervantino Festival. We've talked about this very important festival that goes on every year here in Mexico, in the state of Guanajuato. And it's the premier cultural festival in Mexico. There's nothing quite like it. And every year it goes on, and it brings thousands and thousands of people to this state, to the state of Guanajuato, to the city of Guanajuato, to San Miguel de Allende, and there is some overlap in Guadalajara and so forth and so on. Well, of course, this year, the Cervantino Festival will be completely pre-recorded, or it's not going to be you're not going to be able to go to the theaters. Nothing is going to go on in the theaters. Everything's going to be online, which is a bummer for the businesses, the hotels and the restaurants in Guanajuato that we're hoping to make their season as they usually do. The festival will have 27 staged performances, 12 exhibitions, 2 installations. I suppose the installations will definitely be there. There's going to be 11 academic activities, and it'll involve participation from 12 different countries. It will happen during, I saw the date, from the 14th to the 18th of October. And it'll involve a lot of artists from Argentina, China, Costa Rica, Cuba, Spain, United States, France, Mexico, Portugal, United Kingdom, Senegal, and Uruguay. Now, what does this mean for us? What this means for us, and hopefully I'm not oversimplifying this, but clearly what they've done is use the budget for the festival to line up specific performances that we can enjoy live, free of charge. And I read in the article that this will happen for a limited amount of time. In other words, whatever comes on, you have 24 hours to watch it at your leisure, and then it'll be gone. So as the specific schedule becomes more clear, we will be sharing this because some of the the performers advertised sound really enticing. Something came to mind to me, and Michael, you may know about them. There's a vocal ensemble called Chanticleer. They do a lot of Renaissance music, and they are really wonderful. I am sure, Michael, you will enjoy this. Thank you for the good wishes for the vacation. And as long as we're here, let me take a quick look at your final comments and questions. You thought I was on vacation? I am leaving as soon as I'm done this broadcast. I will be in San Sebastián del Oeste for 3 days, coming back Wednesday afternoon. But we have pre-recorded shows for you. Tomorrow is ready, and the one for Wednesday is ready as well. They should appear on the Facebook page for you to enjoy at 10:30 in the morning as usual. And I will get to the show notes for these broadcasts when I come back from San Sebastián del Oeste. Let me see. Is Jalisco doing in-class learning? If you mean by in-class, like at the classroom, no, Jalisco is not doing that. Everything is from home through the television. I hope that's what you meant. Question, is it a lack of education or lack of colonialism? I applaud that the children are immersed in their ancient language and lifestyle. Well, it's a complicated thing, Claude. Again, the reality of Mexico is that there are a lot of indigenous communities that still live away from culture and society as we know it, and they don't have the same resources. So there are advantages to this because one way or another, certain traditions and ways of life are being preserved. The flip side of that is that these children will eventually want to leave their tiny communities, and they will not be prepared to face the world as we know it, as well as other children that live in more civilized environments or urban environments where they have access to education. So I don't think it's a simple issue to address, but I do think it is important to be mindful of the fact that these contrasts exist, particularly for those of us that live here in Puerto Vallarta, and particularly for the English-speaking community. It is amazing to me to know so many people that think that that the rest of Mexico is like that everybody's going to answer your questions in English. That's definitely not the case. We are in a very privileged destination here in Puerto Vallarta, and let us never forget that. Let us not be shocked when we reach Guadalajara or some little town in the middle of nowhere, and then we reach out to people and start speaking in English, and they're like, huh? So just keep that in mind. More great wishes for vacation. Thank you so very much. Yes, that was fun. That was fun. That was fun. Don't forget where you left us. What do you mean? I haven't left you anywhere. You're all coming with me because I'm going to be doing video and taking photos to share with everybody. Thank you very much for that, Claude. Again, it's a fascinating thing. I mean, I would love to have the time and the budget to go and see how some of these communities live and what we can learn from them and what they can learn from us, but in a safe, responsible way. You know, it's a huge conversation. Heather asks if Luna is going. Luna is looking after my apartment, and my next door neighbor is looking after her. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And this is indeed a good time to stop our broadcast. As always, I am always grateful to get your comments, your suggestions, your feedback. I will, for better or worse, continue to be vigilant of the kind of interaction that we have here on the broadcast. It continues to be very, very important to me that everything we exchange is nurturing, positive, inspiring, and that we can take home with us, and so that it can improve our lives here. Will I continue to get jumpy at people that make blanket statements? Absolutely. And if you make a blanket statement, just nurture it. You know, let us know where you're coming from. Let us know where you read something. You know, let us know what your source is. because yes, I will confess it, blanket statements are something that I have a problem with, and I will continue to apologize for being jumpy every now and then about them, but that's just the way it goes. In the meantime, have a great Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I will miss you. I know that you'll miss me. I certainly hope you'll miss me. And I'll be taking photos and videos so that I can put together an interesting portrayal of what San Sebastián del Oeste looks like today. And of course, when I come back, I will edit and nurture all the stuff that we showed from Las Animas yesterday and turn it into a more well put together piece that everybody can enjoy. Between now and then, stay happy, stay healthy, stay kind, stay in touch, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.